A wide variety of factors contribute to poor growth of plants. Wilting of plants, yellowing of leaves often indicate water requirement and nutrient deficiency respectively. But if the symptoms are caused by nematode infection, adding more water or nutrients usually increase the intensity of the problem. Therefore, when there occur problems in plant growth, role of plant parasitic nematode is to be determined. If nematode infection is confirmed, measures should be taken to manage nematode infection and minimize the damage. Infection by these microscopic roundworms is a major cause of poor crop yields in the tropics and subtropics. A great range of hosts including foliage plants, agronomic and vegetable crops, fruit and nut trees, turf grass and forest trees are highly susceptible to damage caused by nematodes. Not all nematodes attack crop plants. At present, 24 genera of plant parasitic nematodes are identified as crop pests. Some of the most destructive nematodes are root knot nematode caused by Melodogene species, cyst nematode caused by Hydroterra and Cloboterra species, root lesion nematode caused by Pratylengus species, spiral nematode caused by Helicotylengus species, burrowing nematode caused by Rhodophilus similis, bulb and stem nematode caused by Dictylengus dipsaceae, reniform nematode caused by Rhotylengus reniformis, tagger nematode caused by Syphinema species, and bud and leaf nematode caused by Aphelongoides species. Crop damage from nematodes is not readily apparent in most cases, and it often remains hidden by many other factors limiting plant growth. Therefore, it is necessary to have some insight about plant parasitic nematodes. Symptoms observed due to nematode infection, the damage they cause and their management. An estimated 10% of world agriculture production is lost due to nematode damage. In spite of best agronomic practices, the presence of destructive nematodes is generally not felt till faced with the problem of continuous decline in yield. Plant parasitic nematodes mostly feed on the roots of plants, which damages the plant root system. Thus, the plant's ability to absorb water and nutrient is reduced. Damage symptoms typical to plant parasitic nematodes are reduction of root mass, formation of root galls, shortened or deformed roots, wilting, yellowing leaves and other symptoms. Similar to a lack of water or nutrients, also infested vegetable plants grow slowly than healthy ones, fewer and smaller leaves and fruits. Direct damage to plant tissues, shoot feeding nematodes includes reduced vigor, distortion of plant pods and death of infected tissues depending upon the nematode species. Damage is most serious in worm, irrigated, sandy soils. You can confirm a nematode infestation by collecting soil and root samples and sending the material to a laboratory for positive identification of the infesting species. Most of the plant parasitic nematodes affect the root portion of plants. They may also attack stem, foliage and flowers of plants. All plant parasitic nematodes have piercing mouthparts called stylets, with which nematode suck the sap of the plants and causes leaf discoloration, stunted growth, reduced leaf size and fruits and lesion on roots, galls, reduced root system and finally wilting. The presence of stylet is a characteristic feature of plant parasitic nematode which differentiate them from all other type of nematodes. The plant's root system is damaged by the feeding process of the nematodes. Thus, the plant's ability to absorb water and nutrients is reduced and hence develops typical symptoms indicating nematode attack. Symptoms of nematode attack include root knot or galls, root lesions, excessive root branching, injured root tips and stunted root system which forms symptoms on the below ground plant pots. A slow decline of the entire plant, wilting even with ample soil moisture, foliage yellowing and fewer and smaller leaves are some of the symptoms on the above ground plant pots. Bud and leaf nematodes distort and kill bud and leaf tissue. Bulb and stem nematodes produce stem swelling and shorten internode. Nematode infestation in plants cannot be determined easily. It is mostly hidden by many other factors limiting plant growth. Therefore, some cues and signs of nematode infestation are discussed which would help in identifying nematode infestation and damage among plants. Check for the presence of free-handed plants and plants with yellow patches on the leaves. Occurrence of weak and unthrifty plants and the gradual increase in size of the patches each year, then it could be due to nematode infestation. Nematodes cannot spread rapidly over an entire field. Nematodes can disperse by farm tools and machinery, movement of man and animals and with water flow. It should be checked whether unhealthy plants are shorter or lighter in color than healthy plants. We should keep a check on wilting of plants as well and observe if plants will wilt more readily than healthy looking ones. Examination of the root system of plants that appears thick. If roots are unusually small, less in number, have small brown spots or have knots, it indicates nematode disease. However, knots formed by nematodes can be easily distinguished from bacterial nodules seen in roots of leguminous plants as soybean, gram, pea, etc. Nodules formed by bacteria can be easily separated and plucked from root. On the other hand, irregularly shaped knots or galls formed due to nematodes cannot be easily separated from roots, which are an indication of the presence of nematodes. Now we will see the symptoms and sign of nematode disease. The sign and symptoms of nematode damage may vary based on the plant pot attack, species of nematode present and other pest or stress factors affecting the plant. Keeping all these factors into consideration, nematode symptoms can be classified in two types. First one, symptom produced by above ground feeding nematodes. Second one, symptoms produced by below ground feeding nematodes. Symptom produced by above ground feeding nematodes. Though most nematodes are soil dwelling, there are certain nematodes that feed on above ground plant pods, generate symptom only on aerial plant pods. Such nematodes are referred to as foliar nematodes. Foliar nematodes are plant parasitic roundworms in the genus Aphelangoids. Foliar nematodes, that is, nematodes of Aphelangoid species, are considered disease causing nematodes that attack the above ground plant pods in over 200 host plants. They live only briefly in soil. More importantly, foliar nematodes live and reproduce inside the leaves of plants. The epidermis and mesophyll tissues of the leaves host the nematodes, which causes necrosis and collapses the palisade and spongy parenchyma tissues. Some of the symptoms of nematode infection include leaf discoloration, dead or devitalized buds, seed galls, twisting of leaves, crinkled or distorted stem and foliage, necrosis and discoloration. Leaf discoloration. The most prominent symptom occur in the leaves of affected plants. Foliar nematodes feed on leaves between major veins causing chlorosis. Injury is most often observed at the base of older foliage. Plants with a net-like patterns of veins, when gets infested with foliar nematodes, but the tissues collapse in wedge-shaped areas and then color. Example, among rice, the leaf tip becomes white due to rice, white tip nematode Aphelangoids baeziaceae. Yellowing of leaves on chrysanthemum due to chrysanthemus foliar nematode, etc. Dead or devitalized buds. In some plants such as strawberry, foliar nematode, a fragary affect the growing point and kill the plants and thus results in blind plant. Seed galls. Ancuna tritici larvae enter into the flower primordium in wheat and develops into a gall. These nematodes can survive for longer period inside the cocked wheat grain. Twisting of leaves and stem. Usually, infestation with nematode of genus Tytelungus causes curling of leaves. In rice, the top leaf becomes twisted when infested with Tytelungus angustus. In onion, basal leaves become twisted when infested with Tytelungus dipsaceae, crinkled or distorted stem and foliage. The wheat seed gall nematode Ancuna tritici infests the growing point, resulting in distortions in stem and leaves. Necrosis and discoloration. The infestation caused by Rahadina fluncus coccopilus on coconut leads to red ring disease of coconut. Red color circular area appears in the trunk of the infested palm. Lesion on leaves and stem. Nematodes that penetrate the foliage of broad-leaved plants causes lesion on leaves and stems. Nematodes often make its way to the leaves and stem through the stomata, feed on them and destroy the leaf parenchyma. Small yellowish spots are produced on stem and leaves due to Tytelungus dipsaceae, and the leaf lesion caused by Ancuna rhizooma bosi on chrysanthemum. Symptom produced by below ground feeding nematodes. Most nematodes are soil dwelling and therefore infect and feed on the root portion and exhibit disease symptom on below ground plant pods as well as on the above ground plant pods. Once the nematode enters the plant root system, the surrounding tissues become enlarged and produce root galls. which are typical symptom of infection by root knot nematode. Galling restricts the growth of root, thereby leading to deformed and stunted root system. Galling also interferes with the normal translocation of water and nutrients within the plant, exhibiting above ground symptoms such as slow growth, stunting, wilting and chlorosis. Therefore, when nematodes attack the plant root system, both above and below ground symptoms can be seen, and the symptom can be classified as one is above ground symptom, second one is below ground symptom. Above ground symptom. First one, stunting. Stunting refers to reduced plant growth which makes them susceptible to adverse conditions. Plant appear sickening. In certain patches of most fields, plants appear dwarf, which is a characteristic symptom of nematode infection. For this example, we can quote reduced growth of vegetable crops due to Melidogyne incognita in gingerly due to Heterodera gajani in potato. In potato due to Globodera rostokinensis and in wheat by Heterodera avene. Yellowing or discoloration of foliage. This is the most common symptom of nematode injury. Depending upon the nature of the host plant, soil conditions and nematode species, the discoloration may either partial or complete. For example, Globodera rostokinensis infested potato plant showed light green foliage. Patchy yellow appearance in coffee due to Pratylingus coffeae. Lemon and orange leaves infested with Tilonculus semipenetrans, etc. Wilting. This is an important symptom of nematode infestation. Drooping of leaves or sometimes the entire seedling is caused due to nematode attack of the plant. Extensive damage to the plant root leads to destruction of the entire root system, resulting in day wilting of leaves and plants even in presence of adequate moisture in the soil. For example, day wilting is due to Melidogyne species, root knot infested vegetable crops, etc. Decline and dieback. These symptoms are commonly found in some crops like banana infected with Rhodophilus similis, citrus infected with Tilonculus semipenetrans and grape infected with Melidogyne incognita. Below ground symptom. Root calls and knots. Root calls are characteristic symptom of the injury caused by root knot nematodes. It is very closely associated with the nematodes that in the minds of people, nematode injury goes as a synonym root galls. They are small, individual bead-like or fusiform swelling in some host. Sometimes the galls may be massive lumps of fleshy tissue more than an inch in diameter, housing dozens of nematodes. These characteristic galls are produced by root knot nematode Melidogyne species. Some other nematode species, Nogabus batatiformis, produces galls on sugar beet and tomato, which is similar to the galls produced by root knot nematodes but false in nature. Small galls can be observed on the roots of lemons, that is produced by Hemicycliopora renaria. Syphinema davesicadatum cause galls on rose roots, wheat and oats also. Root lesion. Lesions are typical of injury that is caused by nematodes that penetrate the roots and congregate in limited areas. Lesions are usually small to moderate in size and usually reddish brown in color. They are more or less distinctly circumscribed areas on the plant root system which normally originates internally. This is caused during the penetration and movement of nematodes into the roots. excessive root branching. Near the region of nematode entry in young roots, some of the invading nematodes stimulate the development of branch rootlets. Such symptoms are induced by some of the cyst nematodes, lesion nematodes, and species of genera Nagobus, Trichoderus, Hedrodera, Melidogamy, Bratilingus, etc. The northern root knot nematode also has this effect. The resulting symptoms are similar to that of stuffy root. As the distal part of the root is killed by griddling, the portion that remains alive generally develops branches without any stimulation by the parasite and appears bushy and excessively branched. Due to their appearance, they are also called by other names such as witch's broom, hairy root, and bearding, root swelling. There are root swelling other than the root knot galls. This should not be mistaken for root galls. These are actually swelling of root tips observed in some ectoparasitic nematodes by the time root knot galling is visible. Root swelling is caused by nitrogen fixing bacteria rhizobium on the roots of most legumes. These swellings are termed as root nodules. For example, many ectoparasites like the sting and stuffy root knot nematodes feed on the root tips and produce the process of root elongation. In such cases, the root tips swell to greater diameter than normal and cause swelling of roots. Rotting of fleshy parts. Injury to the fleshy parts of the plant as a result of nematode infestation cause extensive tissue damage, which is generally referred to as rot. Although nematodes initiate the damage, the destruction may be continued by other microorganisms that gain entry as secondary invaders. Example include the potato rot nematode, Titilincus destructor, and the yam nematode Scutello nemapredis species, surface necrosis. Nematode that feed on root system from the outside may destroy the surface over large areas. This might lead to superficial discoloration. A young succulent root may turn yellowish to brownish color due to nematode invasion. Even a weakly parasitic species like Aphelangoides perientinus, when present in large numbers, is sufficient to produce the symptom and cause root destruction. On the other hand, injury of this type caused by some nematodes may be very severe and extend deep down the roots and may result in complete loss of root system. Nematode species frequently found associated with injury of this kind are tagger nematodes, Tilangulus, semipenetrans, and spiral nematodes. Injured or damaged or devitalized root tips. Once the nematodes gain entry into the root system and feeds on it, the root tip mostly stops growing, even if the feeding may not actually kill the tissues or cause the browning of root tips. A root thus affected usually branches out and the growth of these branches may stop as well. Stuffy root. Here the root system is composed of numerous stuffy branches often arranged in clusters. This is because the branch rootlets somehow manage to attain a moderate length before the growth is chased. Example, Tilangulus christi. Coarse root. If the growth of lateral root is chased just as most of them are breaking through the cortex, or when they are very short, an open system made up mostly of the main roots largely divide up small branch rootlets may result. Example, Para trichodorus species. Curly tip, commonly called fish hook. Here injury at the side of the root nearing the tip may retard the growth and elongation. on that specific site and result in curling. Curly tip may be caused by tiger nematode, root knot nematode, Syphinema species. Abbreviated root system. When burrowing lesion or lance nematodes attack and injure the fleshy cortex of host roots, fungi which normally could not penetrate the intact root makes its way through the root and are often able to colonize the root. Later from this point infect the entire root. Rotted mature tissues at the tip of the root are a clue that endoparasitic nematodes and fungi together may have shortened the roots. Root rot symptom. Sometimes nematodes alone cause rot of larger roots and storage organs. This potato rot nematode, Titulungus destructor, and yam nematode Scutello nemapradis are two such examples that cause rot. Burrowing nematodes often cause extensive necrosis, which appears much like dry rot or fleshy tissue of large roots such as those of bananas and many tropical foliage plants. Plant damage symptoms such as wilting, yellowing of leaves is often thought of as due to insufficient water or nutrient deficiency. But the same set of symptom is shown by the plants when it is infected by nematodes as well. Therefore, before treating the plants for its symptom, role of plant parasitic nematode is to be determined. A sound diagnosis should be made taking into consideration as many symptoms as possible of above and below ground along with all other tests. In this regard, it is essential to have good knowledge of the various disease symptoms caused by different species of nematode to different parts of the plant. The symptoms of nematode injury vary with the nematode kinds of plant, the age of plant and the site of the plant where the injury occurs. Likewise, nematode infestation symptom can be studied systematically, which would in turn assist in diagnosing nematode infection and their management.